Welcome to the future!
This is our Christo impersonation.
We're Christo.
Oh, it's so exciting.
That is not what I do, ladies.
It's very exciting.
Oh my God.
You're a very like Italian hand gesturing person for an Asian man.
Okay. You guys may have figured it out. Something wacky is going to go on. Before we went live today, I asked Amy and Jen, on a scale of 1 to 10, how crazy do you want this show to go? And immediately they're like, 12. Okay, so you guys, it's totally off the hizzle today. It really is. We're doing something a little different today. A little different. And I'm really glad that, first of all, I just want to say this, that both of you guys were able to come into the studio because there's different energy when you're in the studio.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it marks many firsts for us. Now, we'll get into all that kind of stuff. What are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about freelance and business and stuff.
I love that general
All the
word.
extras.
It just covers everything.
It does, doesn't it?
All the et ceteras of the world.
That's right. And we're going to be doing an AMA. So if you guys want to submit your questions or vote questions up and down, maybe you can only vote them up, but you go to Slido, no relation to me.com. And you need to put in this number 8706. Okay, 8706. And I said it's the first time ever for a couple of things. You are our first ever twins on the show. And depending on how well this goes, this may be a requirement moving forward.
Only
So,
twins.
ladies,
Only duplicates.
welcome, twin freaks.
Yay! I love being a
All
twin
right.
freak.
So now we have to let people know who's who. And you were helping me out today because you changed your hair, Jen. And so it's like now we can tell. So in case, guys, this is the shorthand here. Did I get this right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Amy is on the left and Jen, you're on the right. But
Totally.
Are we
They're the
true
correct
on
sides.
camera too?
We're swapped. We are swapped on camera.
Okay, well, don't worry about that.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Did we line up?
Yes.
Okay,
You did.
Amy,
You
raise
got
your
it
hand. There you go. And then Jen, raise your hand.
What's
Yay! Okay, you guys need to go check them out on Instagram. Amy has her Instagram, and it's at Amy Hoodlum. Okay, there's a theme going on here.
Okay.
And then Jennifer Hood is at The Good Hood.
Yeah.
Does that imply that
Yes.
Amy's really?
Amy is the evil twin. She channels negative energy.
I'll just say I have a tattoo on my middle finger. I'll just leave it at that.
We'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, so just in case you guys don't know who they are, you're local, right? You're
Oh,
just in Orange County?
Orange County.
Orange County, behind the orange curtain. You guys are self-taught, started a career at a print and coupon company, and then went belly up, and it made you somewhat unemployable. That's when you guys co-founded a brand and identity agency called Hoodzpah in 2011.
Right so far.
So
far, so
I
good.
know how to copy
It checks
paste.
out. It checks out.
And then you wrote this book, Freelance and Business and Stuff, and self-published, and you guys are using that hashtag FABAS. It just rolls right off the tongue, FABAS.
We're
like how you say
actually
it.
competing with like a bean.
Spanish
There's
bean
a
dip.
Spanish bean dish
Oh,
or
really?
something, and like it is winning the hashtag war. So
Love
we need
it.
some help.
Love it. Okay, and to my shock, surprise, and delight, the book, being self-published and all, has done $100,000 in sales. And the competitor to me is like, my goodness, Pocket Full of Dough's only done 75. We need to make up for some lost time here. We're slacking here, guys.
Let's do an Amazon deal where they can buy both of ours at discount
Ooh,
together.
bundle.
Bundle,
it.
baby.
Nice. Okay, and then you were, what is that? What am I saying? You were self-taught in all aspects, right? And you learned how to do the business, the design, and now you're teaching it, and you have a, I didn't do this right, top professional practice course. Did I say that right?
Professional practices. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what they
professional
call it.
practices.
Yeah.
I'm missing an S in there. At LCAD for 3 to 4 years. And you're the makers of digital and analog products. And there's a website where you can check some of that stuff out. It's called oddsandsods.co.
Yes.
Yeah.
.co.
It's a
.co.
British phrase. Just
'Cause
means
you
like
guys are
odds and
British?
ends, this and that. We do have British heritage.
Oh,
Which
wow.
is always a funny phrase to say like knickknacks.
I love it.
Things that you don't need but you buy anyways.
Yeah. And then you make things like fonts, proposal templates, prints, and more. And I first kind of ran into you on the Adobe Live thing, right?
that
So
was
we'll
so
talk about that.
fun.
You guys are like broadcast veterans, and I saw you recently. And I'm not hurt. I'm just saying I'm not hurt that I'm not invited back, but I'm glad to see that somebody's making it in the world. It's totally cool. And you've worked with clients like Red Bull, 20th Century Fox, Target, A6, History Channel, Tribeca Film Festival, and Intercom. And you guys need to go check out their website right now. It's at hoodzpahdesign.com.
That's us.
That's you.
That's us.
That's you. And then I saw, I'm moving around your shop. I'm like, wow, you do these business boot camps? That sounds awesome.
They're so fun.
Now I know we're like speaking the same language.
Dang, I know.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right? This is like
Yeah.
too weird. It's too weird. Okay. And then you also do like these little mini courses, mini workshops, FABAS, right?
Yeah.
And then here you are at Odds and Sods. with pins and stuff. And I also saw you guys at Adobe Max.
That was so fun.
Hawking your wares. That was just amazing.
Yes.
Hawking it.
We had
Dang
the
it.
perfect situation. We were right by Draplin's line. And,
Yeah.
you know, when the doors opened, Draplin's crew, just like, it was like hundreds of people,
It
like
was
the
like
Beatles were there.
Beatlemania.
Yeah.
Really?
They,
And they
like,
run to him.
trampled.
But it was perfect because we were right in the path to get
You
to
had to
him.
get through
so
you
they
to get
had
to him.
come and stop by our stuff. And he's so gracious. He was like, hey, you got to buy their stuff.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is. He's
he
pretty
was
cool.
so-
So he was an anchor, and you guys were catching.
Totally.
Catching the traffic. Anyways, we were talking about the book, and this is what the book looks like, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that, and we'll tell people how to get the book. So if you have questions, go to slido.com right now and put in the hashtag 8706. Mark and Aaron are running the show with me outside the booth, and they'll be also monitoring your questions on YouTube. Reason why we direct you to Slido is at least we can keep track of the questions, but don't worry, if you want to go to Slido, you don't have to. We'll look at your comments on YouTube Live as well. And we want to welcome all the hoodlums, hoodsters, or what do we call those people?
We don't have fans.
Oh my God, you have fans.
Can we steal yours?
Yes,
I'd just like
gladly.
to take yours home, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's give them a name. What do we call the
Hoodies.
hoodies?
Hoodies.
Can we get more creative than that? Hoodies?
Hoodlums.
Hoodlums.
I mean, that's kind of mine, but I'll share. Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. It is yours. Okay, so all the hoodlums, the hoodies, welcome to the show. Glad that you guys could make it. We'll get to you in a second. So I'm going to start off with the biggest question just to get the conversation rolling here. It was amazing that you guys wrote this book. And I was like, dang, I don't have a book. What's going on with the book? This is like a legit book inside here. And I even got mine autographed, you guys.
Oh, hey.
Don't be jelly. Don't be jelly. So I want to ask you this question. What did you learn about writing the book, and what surprised you?
Well, just how it started, I think, is interesting because we were invited to speak at Creative South. We had never talked before. P.S. If
Shout
you're
out
ever
to Mike
invited to
Jones.
talk, just talk. Go. Like, don't be afraid. Just do it because it's the beginning of a lot of great things.
Yeah.
And everyone knows something, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Think
everyone
about
has
the
something to
question you
share.
get asked the most, and then just
Talk about
make
that.
a talk about that.
Yeah. So we were invited to talk at Creative South. We wrote 60 pages of notes and realized this is not a conference talk. This would put everyone to sleep to listen to 60 pages of notes. So we took it home and we just like refined it a little and released it as the first version of the ebook. Which
Was that free? Or
no,
no?
it was like
$10.
$5. Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was
$10.
Wait,
Yeah.
get your story straight. Is it 5 or 10? 50? Yeah.
Fake news. It was $10.
$10.
Yeah.
Okay.
But and it was a sleeper because we just like we didn't put a lot of effort into like how we released it. We weren't very like confident in it. We were just like, well, this is how we did it. We could be totally wrong. Who
We were
knows?
afraid someone was gonna like find us out, like read it, and just be like, "They're frauds,"
and do like a takedown piece line by
Yeah.
line. So we were a bit afraid, but we just put it out there. And then through that, a student from LCAD heard about us and was like,
Ricardo
hey, come.
Imperial. Shout
Ricardo
out to
Imperial.
Ricardo.
He said, come talk to LCAD. I'm a senior here. And you talked about how you started your business. Come talk. So we went in there and talked. And then that led to us teaching at LCAD, even though we never graduated from design school or university.
It was kind of funny because I remember when the hiring process started, like Catherine Ure, who's the design head there, she just offered us the position because she loved our talk, she loved what we were about. But then I remember the actual like powers that be at the school were like, okay, now send us your resume and your this and your that and all your credentials. We need to know like where you graduated from. And I just never wrote them back. And then we just started teaching.
So we're like, we don't have any.
Saddleback Community College.
We went to the School of Google.
Uncompleted.
Oh, I watched one of your live streams. I was cracking up because all the people were asking questions. You were like, people, Google. If you can Google the question, don't ask me. I'm like, so true.
Yes.
But then, so we started teaching at LCAD, and we like honed in our professional practices course of how we start our business, how creatives can start their business, and then by honing that course across like 3-4 years, we realized, okay, we need to re-release the book now that we like really feel confident in this like content, and so we re-released it because we had background in print. We knew how to lay out the book, and then we're like, let's just self-publish because like we have a wholesale seller's permit that gets us wholesale printing rates, which anyone can get. PS.
And honestly, everyone's like, how'd you find a book printer? And I'm like, just Google print brokers in your area.
Yeah.
It was literally like a Minuteman Press type print broker.
Yeah,
I'm
but like we just
get some
tested out.
samples.
Yeah, we tested
It's
out,
so
got samples,
easy.
and then we bought an ISBN.
Yeah.
Johan Bowkery, buy one.
Just so people think we're legit.
Yeah.
Like, it's got an ISBN. It's got to be legit.
And then we re-released it. So yeah, it's just I think you just kind of have to take a step and just do it. Get a first
But what
version
was the biggest
out.
thing you learned?
Yeah.
Just to like
Just do it.
Nike, just Nike that
Nike.
shit.
Oh wait, are we going to be swearing on the show today? I need to give the parental disclaimer at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
How are we doing today's show? Clean or
let's
going
go,
full
like,
throttle?
PG-13.
PG-13. Well, that's okay. I don't know what that
Dang it.
means.
Dang it's the max.
Darn it. Yes.
Gosh darned it.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so you guys printed the book yourself. First of all, how much did it cost you per copy, and how big of a run did you do on your first run?
It was so funny because we were like, oh, no one's going to want the print ones. We kind of just wanted them ourselves.
Right.
And we thought, oh, well, everyone's just going to want the ebook because it's easier, it's cheaper. And then we sold out of our print copies like after the first day of launching the book. And we had only gotten 500 copies. 500.
Yeah, that's a lot, though.
And because we had been like teasing it for like months, and Jen kept being like, it's not ready yet. And then I was like, we're launching it today. I don't care if it's done or not. I'm launching it, and we'll send them when they're done. And but yeah, so then we got tons more. And so the first run cost more because we had such a low quantity.
Right.
But then we were like, oh shoot, people want this like tangible good. Like designers like to have something that they can hold and look at.
People do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
And that surprised me, actually. I was like, everyone's going to want digital. That was probably the biggest surprise. And then, so then now the books cost us, what, Jen, like
They're like $5 each to print.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're selling them for like $25.
Yeah.
Nice markup.
So
ladies.
yeah.
Very
And
well
then-
done.
Yeah, and then for distribution, we have our little sister is our brand manager for Odds and Sods and our like
Hoodzpah
goods. So she ships it all. Like she's amazing. Like she's like such a sweetheart at customer service. Like,
And we did the
anytime-
whole like unboxing thing. Like you have to make an experience. If you want people to
Totally.
share it, it has to be like exciting to unbox.
Mm-hmm.
So we have like all the stamps with the smiley face, and when you open the box, it says "Hey boss," and then we have a little thank you note that has like custom designed like cards, so that when they put it all together, there's something to take a photo of. It's so obvious. And if you give them that, and then you put your hashtag and say, "We'd love to see it if you share it," it's all you have to do is ask. It's crazy, and people want to be involved and share the process. So that worked out, and it slowly
I think that
snowballed.
was surprising, right? Just asking for that little thing, like, hey, if
Yeah.
you like it, share it.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah. Okay. Wow. A lot of questions for you. So you're employing your little sister?
Yeah. It's very nepotistic, this family.
It is.
You have to be born into it to be a part of this business.
No applications necessary.
Yeah, just a DNA test and you're in.
23andMe and you're good. Okay, so your little sister's working for you. Are you guys warehousing the books and then she ships them from wherever, their home studio or house?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got this new
Wow.
place. We got this rad new place. We've got 4 acres in Orange County. Tell me anyone you know that
No.
has 4 acres in Orange
For
County.
real?
Yeah. It's baller.
undeveloped. Like, it's just a dirt lot, but we want to put some ramps in, you
I
know?
want to get
and
some llamas, maybe like a peacock or something.
yeah, get
Wow.
like a Instagram famous animal.
Yes.
and
Oh,
like
yeah.
round out our social media presence.
Okay, wait.
Absolutely.
So you guys bought a lot of land.
Oh, we didn't buy it. We rent.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
you
we're
rent.
renting.
Yeah.
So
we
you got a giant lot, 4 acres.
Yeah.
That's where you set up your studio?
So we've got our home office, and then it's got like 3 extra rooms that we don't even need. So one room is just storing books,
Yep.
and then one room is like the fulfillment center, and then one room is the office.
Yeah, so it's just a
not like-
house, but we just, use
Yeah.
it the way we like it. And by pooling the money for our studio, our office,
Right.
and our house money, we get like a cool bitchin' house with a pool.
Yeah.
Jen, PG-13.
Bitchin' is like
Well, don't do it twice.
80s network television language.
Okay.
We're fine.
That's okay. You guys say whatever you want. It's going to be off the chain anyway, so don't worry. Okay, I like how you called it the fulfillment center. Like it's super legitimate.
Oh my gosh.
This is logistics and operations here, and this is the fulfillment center. I like it.
It's all
Okay.
about the MySpace angles. People are constantly emailing us and being like,
Yeah.
"Can we tour your studio?" I'm like, "My living room? Yeah, sure. If you want to come to
Yeah,
my living
you
room,
wanna come watch Netflix?
we'll have some Lucky Charms and watch Supernatural. We'll have a good time."
They're like, there's a 6-month wait list, my friend. 6-month wait list. And then never respond to anybody. It's a perpetual 6-month wait list.
That's
Right.
hilarious.
Yeah. So what I find truly inspiring about what you did, and I'm reading your story, I'm like, oh man, you're doing it really smart. You went and did a talk. And in preparation for the talk, you turn the scraps, if you will, the making of the talk into something. And even though by your own definition description, it wasn't super successful and you weren't that confident, you didn't give up on it. You kept building on it and building on it. You took that and that leveraged you into teaching. And then you refined it over 3 or 4 years. And you're like, I think we got something. Let's go back and update the book and let's do this for Rizzle this time.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right? And that was fantastic. And now you are doing workshops, mini workshops, full 2-day workshops, 30 hours of content. I was reading, like, oh my gosh.
Can you
You're
imagine?
going really deep on this. And this is so cool.
Yeah, we're stoked on it. Yeah. And it's funny because I don't feel like we say we're self-taught, but really like what kind of balanced it all out was
Yes.
all those people that we started surrounding ourselves with and just being like, hey, we're doing this. And they were like, don't do that. That's no.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like
Yeah.
I don't think self-taught's the right word because it's impossible. Like it was just Googling things, looking things up, and
then
then
Jason
asking
Staggs,
limitless
our original boss that gave us a job, our first job. He's the one who taught us how to do Illustrator, InDesign, all those things.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just Twitter was everything, I feel like. That was like the big turning point for us is we found these like really smart people on Twitter, like Josh Hemsley and like Mark Hemian, and they were all in Orange County, and they would just go and like hang out and get lunch and just like talk shop.
Wow.
And so I think that's when we kind of started like comparing what we were doing, starting to like refine, finesse, and even like all our fellow professors at LCAD, like Dana Herkelrath and those kind of people. It's amazing how, not to quote Hillary, but it takes a village.
I don't think she originally said that, but that's okay.
Sure.
I'm sure it's like an old proverb.
Yeah.
Probably,
She's just completely. Yeah.
But it 100% is true. Like, just ask questions. And it's like, you can't ask for things. We were always very cautious not to just ask people to give us things. We've had people reach out to us and be like, I'm starting an agency. Can you send me your contracts, your pricing, your this, your that?
Oh, yeah.
I'd love your help. And it's like,
do you get that too,
that's
Chris?
a bit much. Like,
I
you
do.
know, like do your own research, you know? So
I think people mistake when you try to help for just being like, oh, they'll give it to me. It's like,
Right.
yeah, it's just not
Boundaries.
good. Yeah, and it's not
Boundaries.
good for you to just expect someone to hand it to you. It's good to do the legwork. So early on, we would like do the whole legwork, put together a plan, and then we would go to these meetups or hangouts and be like, okay, this is what I'm planning on doing. How stupid is this? And then they would be like, that's a terrible idea. That has legs, you know, and just like help us critique it, which is a better way to go about asking for help, is to ask them to like work on something that you've already done a lot of work on. So.
Awesome. Okay, speaking of questions and asking for help, here we are on Slido. Aaron, Anonymous sent this question at 6:03 a.m., so just the early bird gets the worm kind of thing, and it's got 2 thumbs up. So let's see. For freelance, how do you keep your long-lasting client? Client will look for you for another project maybe. How do you keep the relationship between that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, like, before we ever end a project, we're already thinking, like, what does this client need next? But they're so busy and overwhelmed that they haven't thought of it.
Totally.
So we're not just, like, wrapping it up, which at the end of the client, it's the hardest, because we were talking the other day about how you lose steam in, like, the last leg of the project. Everyone's usually somewhat, like, tired and
You're like
little...
a married couple where you just know each other too well, and you're just like, ugh, it's not exciting anymore.
But it's like, that's the most crucial time to remind the client that you're there for them, you care about their project, and you're excited about what the potential is. So usually, like, we'll start planning a month before. This is a new thing for us. We'll start planning a gift for them at the end. That'll wrap up like the first phase of the project, the initial scope rather. And when we give the gift, usually we'll also like follow up with an email like, hey, we enjoyed so much working with you. Like, you have all the stuff you need. We've wrapped it all up, but you know, we're sure you'll need X, Y, and Z in the future. Like, if here's a rough proposal of what that might look like if you want to talk about that sometime soon. I know you're busy, but here's like what I think we could tackle next, and we'd love to help you with it.
Right.
And then it's just a matter of staying in contact, like celebrating their wins, contacting them just to say, hey, congrats on the launch, or like, I saw your new product, cool. Like, just staying involved, you know?
You guys seem like really good at that. You do it in a very natural way.
Oh, good.
I think it's because you have to work with clients you actually like respect and like, right? Like, of course, if you don't like the work that you're doing, that's going to translate, you know. So I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, and I think even like there's a lot of clients that it's like it's not exciting technically what they do, but the people are great and the pay is great, so it makes up for it. And you can still be excited for them just because you like them, right? So it's like I don't really care about like property development, but I have a really big property development client, and I'm constantly like rooting for them when something big happens for them, you know, because they're one of my biggest retainer clients.
Totally. And people want to work with people that are exciting and fun and easy to work with. So if you can make the process smooth, make it fun, like find something that you have common ground on, and just like even like bring up like random things that have nothing to do with the project that just shows that you are human to human connect.
We're
like
humans.
It means the world, you know?
At the end of the day, we're all humans.
Just meat bags
Well,
of emotions.
somebody is confirming this on YouTube. He's saying, Yuri is saying, this episode is so energetic. Super pumped to be here.
Yay.
And
Nice.
KK Tammy is saying, I'd wait 6 months to take that studio tour. Look at that. Look at those hoodlums coming in here.
Coming in hot.
Yes. So you guys have so much energy. Did you guys drink coffee right before?
Oh my gosh, no! But I had Szechuan chicken. We had Szechuan chicken with our friends.
Really, we should have a low right
I
now. We
know.
should be like in that.
We should
like,
have a food
Right.
club.
MSG like planet.
But we always meet up with some of our friends when we come into town, and so we met up with Neri Rivas. Shout out to Neri. He's an art director at 20th Century Fox, and we like just staying in touch with your friends and people you work with. Yeah. So the Szechuan chicken is to thank.
So what you're saying is we suck the life out of friends.
Yes.
And we feed off the energy and then we give it back.
Oh, Flander Rock is saying, hey guys, ask the Hoodzpah women to fix the widget on their website. It shows some code on top of the website instead of a button.
Oh no!
So there's IT support here. And that's kind of
so
cool about the community. No. You guys don't fix it now. I love it because
Wait, I
people
gotta see what
actually
this is.
proofread our copy for us. They
Oh, that's
report
amazing.
errors and bugs, and it's
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
It's handy. You don't even have to hire a copywriter.
It's super handy. Yes. Okay, so Flanderock is saying they are so positive. Yes, you guys are.
Gosh, Christian, how are you?
It's so important. From the beginning, we realized, like, because we did not have a glamorous beginning. Like, I did bring in that slide some of our early work.
Yeah.
And it's, like you said, coupon clipper work. Like, if we made it here, like, anyone can, literally. So I feel like it's really important to just be excited about what day to day brings you, that's like, even if it has nothing to do with what you're doing creatively, finding something to be like happy and grateful for keeps you going when like your goal is a little bit further off than you would hope.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, I want to do a hard pivot here since it's like business edition and stuff, and we want to do AMA. Encourage you guys to engage in this dialogue. This is something that a lot of people want to know, and you write about it. How do you set your hourly price?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you want to take it?
No, Jen, you do it. You do this part of the workshop, and I'm just like, yeah.
I have to say, it must be very nice to have a sister just to fill in for you. Like, I don't like that part. You do that part.
Like, I'm going to tag you in on this really boring bit.
It's really handy.
I don't have a bald Asian brother who to do this with me. I have to suffer through it in the world alone by myself.
I'm going to get you a blow-up dummy with just a speakerphone, and that way you can just,
Once they perfect holograms, I'm getting you one for Christmas.
Beautiful.
Yes. Okay, so pricing.
Yes.
First of all, like your hourly, you won't use your hourly rate a lot of times because you should value-based price as much as you can. But you have to know your goal hourly rate to figure out what your best value price is, flat rate pricing. So what we like to do is work backwards. So we have everyone put together a business budget, which includes like what you need personally for your freelance salary or your business salary to live for you, and then business expenses on top of that. And then you calculate that for the year. Also include like savings, like any kind of like extra money you want to make on top of just like what it takes to actually live and run your business. Then you're going to divide that out by your billable hours that you have per year. I think like a good round number that we use per year is like 1344 billable hours in a year. That means you're not working every hour of a 40-hour work week. You can't.
Gives you, like,
That's
a
not
nice
all,
European vacay.
Yeah, because like in a work week, you maybe have like 25 to 30 hours that are actually billable to a client. The rest of it's like you're working on your own business and you can't directly bill a client for it. So if you divide your like total yearly what you want to make in a year, divide that by 1344. Is that it? Now I have to like do the calculation and see.
That's simple. So let's try.
Let's see. Okay.
Let's say if I'm a new graduate and I want to earn $45,000 a year doing graphic design.
So 45,000 divided by 1344 equals, your hourly rate would be about $33.48. So that's like a baseline, right? And it's like, that's what you're going for. Now, obviously, like the world of freelance doesn't work that way. Like sometimes you get work coming in, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
So it is a fluctuation, but this is your goal. And this is like a baseline. So once we get our average hourly, what we'll then do is have them plus or minus it for a creative hourly rate and for a production hourly rate.
Ooh.
Yeah, because if you're like quoting a flat rate job and you're like, oh, this is like a ton of strategy and like original creative work, like they have nothing to start from, then you're going to want to use your higher hourly rate that allots for that kind of like, creative energy.
So production is going to be lower hourly?
Yeah. And then production, because like we only usually do hourly rates on production style work where it's like, hey, this is just plug and chug. Like we're not putting a lot of strategy in it that has like extra value. It's just something like a junior designer on our team can do it and they just need to like pump out a lot of the same stuff. But for anything that has like creative strategy and is like unique and original and has value beyond just like the sweat that it takes to make it, value-based price it and like build in that extra cushion of what.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have many, many more questions. And I'm sorry to bore you, Amy, on this. I'm going to keep engaging with Jen on this one, okay?
No worries.
So the whole plug and chug thing. So you mentioned that somebody else would work on it. So you have a small team of people who you work with or no?
Yeah, so we have production designers that we work with. Shout out to Arturo Jimenez. Yes. And he does creative stuff too, but it's nice to have someone who just understands InDesign and just layout hierarchy, which is surprisingly so hard to find. But we have this guy that is just phenomenal, Arturo, and we pass him all of our retainer work that actually pays the best. They pay amazing rates because they make the big bucks. And then it gives us the money to, maybe if it's a smaller company that comes in that wants a branding project and they don't have enough money, then we can offset that and it's not a big deal if they can't afford it, like the big dollars.
Is Arturo a staff person or a freelancer, in-house,
He's
out-of-house?
freelance. So
freelance,
like,
okay.
Our whole studio system is like, we all like freedom and we don't want to keep office hours, and he lives in LA, we live in OC.
I see.
He used to come into our home studio and it was really fun and we loved being around each other, but we realized we just kind of sat in silence and did our own things, and it was a long drive for him.
Very long.
And there's street sweeping 2 days and it's on the peninsula in Newport.
It was
impossible.
tough.
Impossible for him to park.
So after a while in the summer, like he would just work from LA at his place, and we were like, hey, we're actually really great. We're self-motivated. Like we don't have to be in an office to make sure things get done. We're good at emailing. So let's let's just like do it virtual, and that way you can work whenever you want from wherever you want, and we all love that method. And so anyone we bring in now, per project basis, like they work the same way, and we have to make sure that they're good at like self-managing, because that's like a very specific situation, and people have to be able to. It's like, I don't care when you work, but you better meet the deadline, you know.
Okay, I want to understand the business a little bit. So he's an independent contractor, freelancer, works remotely.
Yeah.
Used to come in, but now for everybody's benefit, he can work remotely. How much is he charging you versus how much are you billing him out at? Is it the same amount?
Well, I can't say his rates because that would be
it's
rude.
not.
Yeah.
So
no, but
you're
it's
saying
different, right?
yes.
Because we're booking work that he probably couldn't get on his own. Not because he's not good, but just because we have like a studio name, and we're getting in these like clients who kind of want like
they want to see that there's
name.
a team.
Yeah, they want a name and they want a team. And so we're booking that work based off of our name and reputation. And then like he is a part of our team, and someone we trust, and like gets the benefit of getting great work. But he doesn't like having to get his own work, I don't think, which I don't blame him. It's like hard.
It's hard for freelance.
Yeah, but he's a great designer, so I think he enjoys the idea of like he gets to work with people he like enjoys working with on stuff that he enjoys.
Right.
But he doesn't have to fight for the work. And the cool thing about him being freelance is that like we tell him all the time, like you can say no to whatever you want. Like you don't have to do everything we tell you because you're a freelancer. You don't work like you know.
Oh, you can pick and choose.
Yeah, you can pick and choose because we want it to
we have
truly
other
be
freelancers
fair.
on hand too.
Yeah,
so it's like, if he's too busy or if it's just not of interest to him, I have like 2 other people on hand that I know. You know, they would be good for this.
But recently, I think the laws changed. So now we have to be careful. Like, I need to talk to a lawyer because in California, someone told me that the laws changed to where you can't subcontract someone that you technically
could
do
hire?
the same thing as they do, and they could be hired
Really?
by your company. Someone told me that. I don't know. It could be a rumor. Basic Agency posted this like blog post about it. I'm like, oh crap, maybe I need to change.
Are you
like,
pulling a Trump? Like, I've heard. That's another bit for another show. Yes, very
huge.
good.
It's huge in China.
China. Yes, there's an extra G in there somewhere in China. Okay, so is there a rule of thumb how much you need to mark up somebody's rate in order for you to survive as a company? You take on risks and liability, all kinds of things, especially like sometimes your clients don't pay you. Let's just say you have one of those clients, but you still have to pay Arturo. He's done the work.
Totally.
You can't screw him over. So is there a rule of thumb how much you need to mark it up? So if, let's say like I'm a $30 an hour kind of guy and you need me, you want to work with me. How much would you mark up my rate?
I think it's kind of the same as
like
wholesale. Yeah, where it's like you mark it up.
Great minds.
Good minds.
It's like wholesale. Wholesale's what we're going to say. Wholesale. I ESP'd it into her before.
So you would double the rate?
Yeah, I would say double it because
Okay.
also I think the part that people forget too is like we're doing all the management, so that's also time taken off that Arturo doesn't have to do.
Right.
So you have to think that you have to pay yourself for that time too, even though it's a lot less than if you were doing it yourself.
And the creative direction, art direction, like actually like setting a tone, getting it started, and then passing it off, and then like being like a quality checkpoint too. So we're not just sending it directly to the client. Although some relationships that we have with clients that he's worked with for a long time, like they just directly.
They love him. They work symbiotically.
Right.
Yeah. But
and you're very transparent about the process.
Oh yeah. So and like with some bigger companies, like it depends on who you're talking to. Sometimes you just have to change your presentation of like how you say things. We'll just be like, we're a virtual office.
Yeah, you
virtual
gotta spin
team.
it.
Like
what people think as a negative, you have to spin as a positive.
Right, because we have a lot of clients who are like, hey, we want to come into the office and do the discovery in office, and it's like they might be like scared if we say we work from home. They might think, oh, like who are these small potatoes people? So we have to be like, well, we have a virtual office which we have chosen because we like the freedom. So like making it seem very intentional, which we do. We have chosen it, but like you have
at first we hadn't though. At first we're like, my office, right? You see, it's under construction. No.
Right.
At first we were like panicking. We were like, how do you like do we lie? But then we just realized that you just have to turn it into a positive. So like Jen said, just saying like we actually like everyone works remote and we are able to hire the best people for your project because everybody's a freelancer and it keeps our costs low. That's why you hired us instead of the other guy because we're 10 grand less, but we have the talent that's maybe even better than that agency.
Okay, I want to test you. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to throw a statement at you and then you have to complete the sentence. Who wants to do it? Amy or Jen?
You going?
I'll do it.
Okay, I'm going to give you a possible negative, and then you have to just spin it. You have to spin it
so
in
good.
real
Spin
time.
zone,
Are you really
spin
good?
zone.
You're the spin master?
Let's do the spin
Oh my
zone.
gosh.
Bill
OC
Riley's
in the house
rolling
right
over
now.
his grave.
Okay, so I don't have a car, so
I'm going to Lyft in, Uber in.
Get that like X class.
Spin it, spin it.
So are you saying like it's me? I don't have a car?
Yeah, like
Okay.
whoever's saying this, I don't have a car. How do I spin that?
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. I always just say like I Uber in, I Lyft in. It's easier. And then you could also say like I take public transit. I just think that's cool. You say like, yeah.
Environmentally conscious.
You say I'm going to take the metro, man.
Okay.
But also, no one has to know that like you Ubered in.
That's
Just like
what I
get
think. You
dropped off
wouldn't
behind the place you're
I
meeting,
used
like
to-
when you used to get dropped off by your mom at high school.
Exactly.
No, like say you came to a client and you did a meeting.
Okay.
And like, hey, where are you guys heading? Can you just drop me off at the Starbucks around the corner?
Oh,
then it
interesting.
become an issue. See?
You could say,
Who
I'm
would
very
say that?
environmentally
That's so,
conscious.
like, presumptuous. Though. Like your client's like, well, then your client doesn't have a car. They're the ones who look like a
Yeah,
schmuck.
well, gosh, who's the loser in that scenario?
It's like, no,
hold on.
that's when you start reverse bullying. You don't have a car.
Jen, you're such a mean girl.
You are. Wait, hold on.
Regina George.
You guys are being a little too judgmental right now, right? It's
No,
like
I'm
because I
just-
don't have a car, I'm a
I'm
loser.
just kidding. No, I'm
There's
not.
a bunch of people now who are electing
No, but
not
that's
to
what I'm
drive.
saying. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. But if your client's asking
I like to
you
read
for
when
a
I
lift,
drive, or I want to listen to.
Right.
I want to.
I like to take the train. I used to take the train to LA for all my meetings.
Oh, totally.
And because I would say, so you could say, oh, I took the train in because I wanted to get some work done on the way.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Spin zone, baby.
There you go.
Spin
That
zone.
was
my
the
car's
better
in the
answer.
shop. I'm Ubering here.
I'm sorry, the Mercedes S-Class is in the shop right now. So
Yeah, ooh, the Tesla.
Hold on,
out
step
for-
back. My UberX is here.
Exactly.
Okay. So, Mark, I'm going to prompt you now to get ready for reading questions on YouTube. But before we do that, there's a question coming in from Oscar Mendez from Slido. He's like, your client work is executed in a wide variety of design styles. How does this impact new potential clients? Do they appreciate it or does it scare them off?
Oh, I think it's never hurt us. If anything, I feel like it helps us because if a trend passes, like I think we've always felt confident that like we want to make sure we're never so niche that if something is passing and we're then like put out of work because we're only known for a very specific thing. While we can do kind of like on-trend work, we like to be able to do a broad variety, and that's also just exciting for us. And so I think we get actually a lot more clients because of that, because we've worked with a lot of we've worked with beauty brands, we've worked with like sports brands, we've worked with like the whole gamut,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
because we've shown a variety of work.
Yeah, it's
So-
actually, I find it much harder. And I've had a lot of friends who do like more niche styles, and they commiserate often about how there can be real dry spells if you're known for one thing. And of course, there can be great feast moments too. But I think you protect yourself a lot more, and there's a lot less what if you can do a lot of different styles and you show that in your portfolio.
Yeah. And it's definitely two approaches, right? If you're a niche style and you only do one thing, you're more of the artist approach. And so
Right.
you do have to like really like lean into that. Like, I am an artist. You are hiring me because I am Jessica Hish, or I am Lauren Home, or I am, Daniel Evans. Like, you're leaning into that like artist persona. We're leaning in more to like, hey, we can do anything because we're a studio and we have
Your design agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, like, we definitely want that people to know, like, we can do anything. Like, don't be afraid to reach out to us just because you don't see, what you only see one thing, I guess.
Right. Chris Cannon from YouTube is saying, this is a great team. Do you know Chris Cannon?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, it's
He's
a
our
plant.
unpaid.
Oh my God, it's a
unofficial
plant. No wonder.
marketing
Oh my gosh. They brought their own PR team on YouTube, you guys.
Planted
This is
people in the
next
audience.
level sophistication here. It's like, this is a great team. Chris Doe and the Hood Sisters. This is magic. You know what we should do?
What?
Just to be full nepotism. Next time we should bring your sister and I'll bring my son and it'll be a total family show.
There we go. There we
This
go.
little
That's
dude.
so fun. Family Feud style.
Yes,
Ooh.
yes. Okay. Mark, do we have a question from YouTube?
We do. So, K-John is asking, how do you deal with clients after having negative feedback about your process?
Oh man,
Ooh.
we've had a lot of this recently, and it's funny because you have like years where you're like, we're the best, like no one can stop us.
We are
yeah.
the champions.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then, every now and again, you just go through a spell where like, and it's not even that the work is bad. And I think that's the main thing is communicating to the client and getting them to admit that these are good options. It's just not what you had in mind. Because we always, at the beginning of every proof deck, which you can actually get on our web shop, but at the beginning of every proof deck, we repeat back to them their discovery mood board and their discovery findings. So, we say this was our goal that we all agreed on in the discovery. This was the mood board we all agreed on. This is our competitive landscape we want to live within. And then we show them the logo within those contexts. So we say it looks like a heritage brand. It shows like, it looks like a quality item, all these things. And it also looks great in the competitive landscape and it stands out just like we wanted it to.
So we'll never just send a proof and just let them like infer those things. It's always explicitly said why the solution meets the goals that we set at the beginning. And very importantly, on key proofs, like especially with like round ones on like a branding project where you're like starting on the logo and it's like a very pivotal moment to win their trust, we'll always review those proofs like either via like a video stream, like a live, chat, or in person in a presentation, but we'll never just send them a PDF and expect them to read the captions, because they will never read the captions. It's too easy for them to
be like, we don't like it.
Yeah,
we don't like it.
And they'll put their heads together and fixate on weird things, not because they're trying to be mean, but just they think it's their job to just critique. And if you don't set the tone for the story and why it works, then they might, jump to conclusions that are wrong because they aren't a designer. That's not their job.
And I think it's also like, it's a fear thing, right? Like they're hiring you because they don't know how to do this. They're maybe even a little scared. Like this is going to be the whole face of their company. Everyone has told them that the logo is everything, or or whatever piece it is you're working on. So I think a lot of it is just letting them know you're in control, you've got this under control, and walking them through it.
So we won't even send them the proof deck before they get on the video chat or the video call. We walk them, we share the screen, and we walk them through the proof to make sure it's paced and make sure the story unfolds the way we want to tell it. Because that's what really wins them over, is when you present it and you make the case. And that's where communication is like hugely important in design. And if you can start journaling and getting used to communicating why things work and looking at things in the world and analyzing it.
Quantifying things.
Yeah, it'll make you better at presenting your logos and proofs. And that way, when they do come to give their feedback, you've given them such a strong case for it that if they say, I don't like it just because of preference.
They sound ridiculous.
They do, yeah. And so you can kind of make a case that, well, like, even though you don't like it out of your preference, it still meets all the goals, so it's not a wrong answer. Do you agree? And they have to say yes.
And then maybe at that stage, it's just saying like, hey, why don't we get a test group together? And why don't we ask our audience, like, what they think, because sometimes it is really just scary and it's just too close to home to make like a clear-headed judgment.
Yep.
And also, I think sometimes it just helps them clarify their feedback, right? Because at the end, we'll usually say, like, here's everything, but just so you know, like, if you don't like, the typeface, or if you like an icon from one option, but a typeface from another, or if you're not sold on the colors, we can change all those things. So I tell them at the end what I want them to give me in feedback, instead of just saying, what do you think? Huh?
Right.
Because it's too open-ended, I feel like. I feel like if you can guide them in saying, like, don't tell me you don't like it, tell me, oh, the blue's not vibing for me. It helps them actually make a more, quantitative decision, or give you feedback that you can actually, like, do something with.
Yeah.
Make a little note here. I think there's a lot of people who agree with what you're saying in terms of do not send work over without you there to present it, either virtually or in person. And we've tried those things, but we actually send the work over without us. And the reason why we do that is because sometimes they feel pressured to respond in the moment. So if I'm like, here's the 68-page deck, we're going to take you through it. They're like, I got to say something. And so it's going to be like a knee-jerk reaction, and we want them to process it. So what we do is we send it the night before, like almost like midnight or something, right? So there's minimal amount of time for them to sit and dwell on the deck without us talking them through it.
Right.
But the way that you craft the email, this is like pre-framing the conversation. So we'll send it over like, this is round one. Everything is still very loose. Here's what we heard. Here's how we attacked it. Let's get on the phone, but just peruse the deck, and then we will talk you through it in great detail.
Yeah.
So that at least they have a moment. So my theory is this. Every time we hear, see, or taste something new, we don't like it automatically.
Right.
Because it's new. It's weird,
scary.
Right? Exactly. So what we want for them to do is get acclimated to the design, get acclimated to the change, and so that works for us too.
Yeah.
That's just,
and at the end we do something similar. We walk them through it, but then at the end we say we want you to sit on it and we want you to think about it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you don't want them to feel like trapped like rats. Like they have to be like, okay, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure they love it. But I think also encouraging them. Sometimes it's like, who do you trust? Who do you love? Who's somebody that you feel like is a demographic? Is a person that's in your demographic? I'll usually say like share it with a friend or a loved one.
oh my God, we might have to fight. Ladies, we might have to fight.
Let's do it.
Hold on, where's my bell?
Get the fight bell out there.
I got it, guys. Woo! Okay. I can't believe you actually encourage your clients to solicit other people's opinions.
Oh, I believe in me.
Oh my
I
God,
believe in me, and I believe in my work.
Sing it, sister. Sing it.
All right. I think they're being crazy. I feel like if they ask a friend, I'm like, literally anyone would love this, especially if I've internally asked people I trust, and I'm like, this is getting good feedback. Like,
that's usually a last resort, I think, if I can tell they're just flat out scared,
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Fight me. Tell me what.
Yeah, tell me what you think.
So we'll debate. Internet, get ready to rumble, because this is how we're going to do it, okay? I'll give you the reason why I don't want them to solicit other people's opinions. there's been a very long strategic process of understanding the problem and the contextual nature of the business problem we're trying to solve. And we've made lots of decisions together up until this point in terms of defining the brand voice, what goals we're trying to solve, the pain points of the customers. And to get anybody else in, it's just inviting trouble. And all they're going to be able to do is give you very superficial feedback.
Right.
I want to talk to decision makers. I want people to own it and take responsibility for it. If they're not sure, I will guide them through it. And I want them to look at me as their partner, collaborator, expert, and not like, oh, you know, what does Jenny or Bobby have to say about this? Because
so you don't want to fluff her in your relationship.
No. Oh my God, we're gonna go there. I love it. I'm glad you said it, not me. Okay, but it's like I don't want you to go to the emo kid who's got a couple of piercings and a tattoo because he's the cool one in the office. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I don't like that. That was so like Helvetica is so out. That's not on trend anymore.
Right.
It's like, no, I'm gonna kill you.
I guess
I will fire my client. If they tell me they're going to show somebody else, I'll fire them.
Interesting. So I guess to me, it's definitely a last resort because you're right. I don't like, there's so much context that has to be given for someone to fully understand a proof, which is why we like to walk them through these key proofs. But if, like Jen said, like if I know that they're just acting out of fear and if it's gotten to the point where I'm like, I literally know if you showed 3 people, and usually at the beginning, some people pay for this where we have like actual a
focus group,
like a focus group, a test group.
That's legitimate to a degree.
And it's usually people that I know or they know, and I've usually gathered them from like social media or something where I can just send them a quick Survey Monkey. But yeah, I usually ask, like, I'll say, let's ask these 3 people that you think they're key demographic people that would go to this shop. Like, we know they have excellent taste. They know what you've been working on. They know the parameters. And, like, we have this deck that we have ready to send to them, you know? But I have to agree that it's definitely a last resort. Yeah.
And I'll say this, too. Like, I have an allergic reaction to people who are indecisive. That's just me. I want to work with people who know what they want and can work with me. And even if they don't know what they want, that I can work with that too. It's like, tell me what's going on. Like when you furrow your eyebrows together, what's the reaction coming from?
Right.
Is it the colors? Is it the scale? Is it legibility?
Yeah.
Is it because this is too scary for you? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, and it is. It's like Sherlocking because like
a little bit.
Sometimes it's just like with a child too. Sometimes like why they're being grumpy and whiny is not the root source, right?
Yeah.
So
they didn't have enough sleep.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Right. It's like, all right, whatever. But it's like you just got to get to the bottom of it, and you can't take it personally. And you're right about asking strategic questions. And
that's totally
whenever
it.
Someone writes me back an email where I can tell they're getting a little like freaked out or angry or they seem like passive aggressive, I get on the phone immediately because I know when they hear my voice and they hear that like I'm calm and I'm not worried, I know it'll calm them.
Okay, hold on. This is an opportunity here. We're going all over the place. I'm an angry client. I'm going to call you.
Okay.
Put on your calming voice. Like, Jen, I'm not feeling it. I don't know.
Okay, I'll say, don't worry. You're not the first person who didn't love the first round of like concepts on their logo, you know?
Okay.
And I just want to say, like, I'm not worried. You shouldn't be worried. This is the first exploration. This is just to get a first pulse, a first taste, and get your initial reaction.
Okay.
And then we're going to keep working, keep revising, and keep honing in. But here's the thing. Yeah, like, and I'll be like, don't worry. We're going to like make this awesome. We're going to make it work. But I want you to know that like out of this, like there should be something that at least gives you like a glimpse or a glimmer of excitement. Like you shouldn't be shooting down all the ideas. So let's walk through each one and I'm going to get your feedback and we're going to kind of like really dive in so that I can really understand like where there might be little hiccups because a lot of the times little things that bother you are really simple for me to change. And so I just like calmly walk them through it and just hear them and I keep asking more and more questions because sometimes they'll say, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like fun. And it's like the more I dig in, I'm like, oh, they just want me to change the color, which is like the simplest thing in the world, you know?
Right.
So, yeah. So a lot of times it's just like disarming them and getting them to trust you again. Yeah.
Okay. Very, very good. I'm going to give you another version. Is that okay?
Okay, go.
Okay. I thought you were going to change your voice and your tone and all, but you're a very high energy person.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very interesting that you said that because what you want to do is you want to be able to match their energy and then you want to redirect their energy to something else. So if they call you like, oh, crazy, like, oh my God, what's wrong, Bobby? That's how I would match them. And then I would pivot out of that. It's like, wow. Okay, so tell me what's going on. And I would just take fault. Immediately, I just take fault because people want to be heard right away.
Oh, yeah.
They want to be heard, so I would just say, you know what? I think we dropped the ball. You're not feeling it. And that's my primary concern.
Really? You would say that?
That's funny.
yes.
I
That's
never
like,
say
it kills me. Did you ever listen to Malcolm Gladwell, his revisionist history podcast? It's so freaking good. There's an episode about the whole runaway Prius thing. Remember the runaway Priuses? They weren't runaway Priuses. It was not a technological flaw. No research lab could ever replicate the runaway Prius. It was a user flaw. But Toyota took the thing of like saying, hey, we're sorry, because they just wanted it to be over, and they wanted to kind of
make
like
it worse.
They wanted to,
and
well,
then-
they wanted to make sure that the audience, or like their audience, still trusted them. They wanted to let them
by
know
just saying
we're here, we're listening,
sorry,
we're sorry.
But it's like, no, like that just, you lost all credibility in your skills, like,
right,
and
all
in your
right.
product.
No,
But I don't know.
okay.
But like, teach their own, and you run you have an amazing studio, so I'm not going to question your
I was going to say,
decisions.
everybody has a different way of working.
Yes, yes.
Obviously, you're doing it right, and I'm doing it wrong.
No. There's no right or wrong. There's just what internet likes and what internet doesn't like. But we'll talk about that in a second. Let me finish though. Let's just say this. I don't apologize that often. Let me just say this, and you can ask my wife, and she'll tell you never apologize. It's a good theory, no, but it never happens. Okay, but what I would say is because I want them to feel like they're heard. We charge so much money for the work, it doesn't really matter. It's not about like I'll put another round or 10 rounds. It doesn't really matter. What I want them to do is feel that they're heard, and I'm going to just say, look, I'm going to own this. I don't know how we got here, but I can see that this is troubling you. So I want to start from there, a place of empathy and understanding, because we know design is fairly subjective. I love how you guys said, let's get it back to being an objective discussion. But I know at the end of the day, you can win the battle, but you lose the war.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if they walk away not feeling great, chances of them recommending you to somebody else, gone.
That is true.
It's
Yeah,
totally
And it's
gone.
a fine walk.
It is
Yeah.
a fine walk because you have to make sure that they still trust you and they still trust your abilities.
Yes.
But you're right. Sometimes you do have to say, and some of the times it is just learning how they like to communicate. Because I've realized a lot of times some people just need a lot more like input and feedback, right? I need to
hand-holding,
give
yeah.
them way more updates. I need to, however
Yes.
it is. So I think usually I'll just learn if they ever feel like I had a client that I'm still working with now, and at one point in the logo process, he had like 3 people that he had on, they were different, decision makers in this big company, but he was like, you're listening to them and you're not listening to me, and I'm footing the bill. And I
Right.
really wasn't. I was listening to him too, but I could tell it was something where he was frustrated with his coworkers actually. So it was me just being like, hey, I'm listening to you, and actually like tell me what it was that you wanted that you felt like I didn't give you in this proof. Okay, I'm gonna make
Yes.
that change today, and I'm gonna get it over to you right now because I want you to know that number one, I want to make you happy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
you're right. There are those times. You're right. When you just like, you eat crow a little because it is important to just make them
Let them know
feel
that they're number one.
Right.
they're in charge, because they're paying you.
Okay.
And they have a valid opinion.
Since I didn't get to do my hands, Aaron, since I didn't get to do my signature hands in the beginning, my Italian hands. Hey. All right. So here's the thing. We were talking about this in the pro group coaching call yesterday. I said, here's the thing. We have how we want to react and we feel. And if we want to become more mindful and become self-aware, we need to remove ourselves from the feelings, to take a step back, and then to watch ourselves, observe ourselves without judgment, what it is we're feeling. So in the moment, we're feeling hurt, we're feeling disrespected, we're feeling attacked or blamed, and I don't want to react from that space. What I want to do is like, okay, I'm processing the emotions and what's coming into my world. How do I feel about this? And what is it that I ultimately want? Ultimately, I'm here to serve my client, period. At the end of the day, that's all I want to do. And some clients can't be served, so I fire them. So
Yeah.
I'm a polar guy, You want to ask your nephew what it looks like? We're done. I want to walk away. But if you're genuinely saying, I'm just not feeling it, here's what I would do. I would acknowledge it. And I would say, I can see that you're a little flustered or frustrated with the work. I want to understand what you're reacting to. Help me see that, please. And most of the time, that'll completely diffuse the situation.
Totally. Yeah,
The
that makes
angry,
sense.
raging bull, if you will just, I'll take a breath. It's okay. I can't, like I always say this, like, it takes 2 people to fight. Mm-hmm. If I'm just standing next to you, it's like, well, what is the problem? What are we angry at? Oh, okay, I see. And then you can find out really quickly, sometimes you're right. It's literally that shade of blue is killing them.
All right.
It's nothing else. And if you ran away and started arguing, it's like, God, they just don't want to listen to me. They're just so difficult. That's rough, right? Mm-hmm. And I think about this. You guys are art directors. You guys are creative directors. Sometimes a designer is so passionate about their work and it just missed the mark, like by a mile, not just a little bit. I would think that you want them to listen to you first, to say, I'm not saying the work is bad. I'm just saying I misunderstood you.
Yeah.
And there's
Right.
a communication problem, and that's human.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Because unlike the twins, we're not telepathic. We can't read each other's minds, right?
Yeah.
Well, also, I guess it depends too on your process, because like when you send a proof, how many options do you send? Because I know if I'm sending like 3 good options and they have nothing good to say about any of them, and I know my level and quality of work's good, our research was good, it fits the bill, it serves the purpose, then at that point I know they're being difficult. So that's a harder conversation to have. And that's more of like, let's go back to the discovery and make sure that like you still believe that the discovery we did and the research we did is still valid, because maybe
that's
things
where
have
it went
changed.
wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'd be like, I saw this cool thing on a bus ad. Now I want to change everything. It's like, well, wait a minute. Let's go back to the discovery and remember why it's so important to stay on track. Or if you really believe this is an important pivot, let's like figure that out now, because like it's going to change everything. And that's like, that's a different discussion.
Yeah. And then let's be money smart here, because I'm not stupid about this either. If it's one of those bus situations and that's what they want to do, I'm like, super cool. Let's close this job out. Let's rescope and start over. We're good with that. As long as your deadline has moved too, we are all good. And if it hasn't, then the rescoping will be even more expensive. Hey, let's do it. No, you don't want to do that? Stick to the brief. I got you.
It's totally what we do. We're like, we can do that, but it's going to be, we'll have to requote it, and it'll push our date back. And they inevitably always say, actually, I like A. We'll go with A.
Yeah. Or like sometimes if they're really stuck, I'm like, do you have unlimited time and unlimited money? Because if you want to keep going through these revision rounds, we're going to have to keep charging you more. And like, we're already like past your like goal launch date.
Right.
Like now we're getting into like more money than you expected to pay. When really like, if we did this user test group and like everyone likes it, it's just you who doesn't like it. Like, are you willing to sacrifice what you personally like are over the moon about for something that really works for your target demo? Like, you have to kind of take yourself out of it as a human sometimes, as a business owner. So.
Oh, are we losing the video feed, guys? What's going on here? Okay.
A little change, don't worry about it.
No, but the screen went black a couple of times. Anyways, I want to say hello to Emily Shea. We were just talking about her. Emily, what's up, girl?
We had so much fun with her and San Fran.
She's there. Yeah, she had a little meeting with you guys without me. I'm like, dang it. All right.
Secret
Girls meeting.
Did we? Oh,
What's that?
I think we invited you, but you were chilling. I get it. It was a long day. Adobe Live.
I don't remember getting invited. Yes. That's one of those invites that got lost in the mail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we were like, Jen's like, we did. I swear.
Okay, whatever. Left out. That was all girl power meeting. I get it. Keep it that way. Fine. I just want to let people know Emily's not here. Not because I fired her. She's like in the Bay Area doing something with her soon-to-be husband, I think.
She's so
and
talented.
we
It's
love
ridiculous.
Emily. She is super talented, super chill, hilarious, and there's no love lost, I think. Unless Emily already wrote down in the comments, I hate you, Chris. Then I take it all back. Then she's a horrible human being. But what up, Emily? Okay. Mark, do we have another question? Should I go to Slido?
I think all the good ones are on Slido.
Okay, so here we go. Let's cut to Eric Sin, and we know Eric from the Pro Group. How did you guys get your first big lead? Example, 20th Century Fox, Target. That's a great question.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you already have the answer, so.
These are so fun to do, these maps.
And if it's not too much to ask, what did you quote?
We quoted much too little the first time.
Okay. No. Don't start with the conclusion.
Yeah.
Start at the start.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the very
I'm
beginning.
peeking on my audio here. All right.
Actually, okay, so it's funny. Our first big clients, it was started from friends we did little projects with. Your friends will go on to do amazing things. Like, keep in touch with people. Even if it's a client that you just enjoy, keep in touch and do right by the little guys. Hopefully, if it all works out, their trajectory goes up and yours can go up with them. Like, they want to work with people they know. They want to work with people they've worked with before. And so if you keep track of people, like, that'll do that. So we were on Twitter. Like, a lot of our friends went on to work for companies like ASICS or, or our friends.
But even if, like, they didn't start out as our friends, like, they just reached out to us when they were smaller, working for their own little projects, and then they went on to do other things.
Right.
But also we realized that, well, I think the first good, like, that like quality logo that you put on your like logo carousel, like that first one happened through actually we were subcontracted by another agency to work with the History Channel. And I asked them, I said, hey, is it okay, like, if I mention, like, of course we will credit you as like doing the work with you, but can I like mention that we've worked with the History Channel? And they said it was okay. So we were able to put that logo on our little carousel slide. And that kind of like, I think gave us like a little level of like credibility, rightly or wrongly. And then after that, like, we just kept building up our social media, and we got reached out to from 20th Century Fox through Instagram. We got reached out to
through Twitter.
Target reached out to us through Twitter. And that
What?
yeah.
Through Twitter?
And
They
you know
were
what
like,
it is?
we emailed you, email us back. I was like, what?
Oh, because you didn't respond.
Because it was a rush project, and they were like, and we had somebody on info@, but
I noticed that you guys are not very active on Facebook.
I hate Facebook.
I don't know. We just never really got like.
There goes the Facebook sponsorship. Thank you very much.
I love Instagram, who Facebook owns. So that's something.
Yeah, there you go.
Hedge your bets.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think we just didn't find as much of a return for us.
Yeah.
And
but now, like, we started doing Facebook ads through, we're trading our friend. Their agency is called Samson, and they're in Orange County, and they do like Facebook ads and all that. Because we had tried doing Facebook ads on our own and just wasted a bunch of money. But we didn't know how to like use all their data, and so these guys like.
Wait a minute. Oh wait, hold. This is a perfect transition.
Okay.
I see your ads on Instagram and Facebook all the
good.
time.
So they're targeting right.
Like, I have 2 of your books. You should take me off your list.
Yeah.
Take off my list. So you're not on Facebook. You don't like Facebook, but you advertise on Facebook.
No, we're on it now. So now we're investing more time because once we were trading with them, because our book started taking off, we're like, crap, we should like we need to invest more in marketing this because it's actually getting really good organic traction, which means it would get better traction if we put ads spend into it. So we're trading with them. They like installed the pixels so that we could gather all the data about who actually buys our book organically, and then we could target to lookalike audiences. So they set up all that information and put together these little targeted ads, and then we started posting much more regularly to all the socials. Like we're really good about Instagram because we just get good traction there. Twitter's like just really fun, and I think it's
awesome.
Yeah, and Twitter, it's important to just be like a person on there. I don't think brands are like succeed really well on there unless they act like one person is running the brand. Yeah. So we kind of like are personally on there and still run stuff that way. But later.com, that app, that's what we use to schedule to all 3 of them. And we try and post at least, I don't know, once every other day, hopefully.
And I think it is important just to show that you just look busy. Like, if you don't have work, be making your own projects that prove concept that you can do these projects, So I think that's a lot of it is, and I don't think there's any shame in just saying like, hey, I'm taking on projects, for March or April. But there's definitely a way to phrase it. Like, don't be like, hey, I'm really hurting for work. Like, I may not make rent next month. Like, I think people...
You deleted that post, huh?
Yeah, I think people want to use someone who's in demand. So if they see that you're doing a lot of work, and if they see you're doing a lot of cool work, that, it kind of begets more work. And so, and if you want to kind of switch what you're doing, like if you're only doing... editorial layout, but you want to get into logos. We have so many people who be like, hey, I really want to start doing logos. And I go to their website and there's no logos. So I'm like, you need to reach out to some causes you believe in, or just, give yourself a personal project, but you need to have that kind of work on your portfolio. So I think a lot of it is just making it look like you do the work you want to do. Yeah.
They say dress for the job that you want, not the job you have. So maybe that works on social media too.
Yeah, for sure.
Post like the company you want to be, not the company you are.
Right, for sure.
Look at that, guys. Tweet that. Instagram that. Hashtag Fabass. What a crazy name.
There's one S, not 2, Chris.
Fabass.
Fabas.
Oh, shut the front door. Fabass.
And the S is silent.
I like how you say it.
Faba. Okay, being Asian, I'm a little sensitive to anything that sound like fob, so let's just stay away from bass. Okay, look, totally random thing. I'm going to start, and then you guys get to fill in whatever, okay? There's some questions about fashion right now, so you guys tell me, what is she wearing on the red carpet, okay? I'm going to tell the people what they're wearing because they don't usually see this hat. There's a little label here. This is a quilted black hat from Stussy. Okay, and it's interesting because it's raining. It feels like there's seasons here in LA all of a sudden. Know. And somehow I'm kind of semi-coordinated with you two. Whoa. You're wearing that mustard sweater and you're wearing the olive green sweater, and you'll tell us all about it in a second.
We're getting some earthy tones here.
Yeah, but more about me for a second, okay? So I'm wearing a black tie here. You see the black tie? It's got some fine pinstriping. This is a Burberry tie.
I love that you don't know. You're like, what about?
I'm wearing a camouflage shirt from The Gap, but it's a special edition one. I'm wearing a quilted black vest from J. Crew and a G-Star khaki jacket.
You're so luxe.
Now, people. Oh, and the glasses are Alon Meekly. Okay, and the headphones are I. Whatever. People are saying, I feel so cold watching Chris. I'm sweating buckets here.
But you look good doing
it.
You look good doing it.
Afterwards, it's going to be a giant pool of moisture over here. Okay. Now. Amy, what are you wearing? Tell us what you're wearing. I prepared you, right?
My grandma knit the sweater for me.
Her grandma knit my sweater for me.
Honestly, there's no name that's important here. This outfit is presented by H&M and Levi's. Thank you so much.
H&M and Levi's, and
this segment has been sponsored by LaCroix.
Hey, you cost us the Facebook sponsor, so bring us back, right?
I bring us back.
LaCroix, Fabass.
I am ashamed to say I think I'm wearing fast fashion. But as soon as I make more money, I will pay for... No, it's not a joking matter. I'm sorry. But it is Urban Outfitters. I don't know where they source their stuff from. I should do more research.
But wait, hold up your hand. You have all these rings. Talk to us about the ring. I didn't wear any jewelry. So
These
talk to
are
me
just
about that.
things I got at different places. Like this I got in the Eastern Sierra Nevadas at just like this cute little jewelry shop in like
Lone Pine.
The
Cool
cutest
spot.
town. I want to retire there.
Yeah.
This one I got after dim sum. We walk across the street to the mall, the Garden Grove.
Westminster Asian. No, it's like Asian Garden.
My
Asian
people?
Garden.
My people?
Is that
That's
it?
your people's.
Yes.
And
Hi,
I got
May. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got this jade ring. It's gorgeous. I
number
love
two
it.
is so
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's it.
What about that tattoo in the middle finger? What is that?
Oh, this is my Shine On, S.O. Shine On, you crazy diamond, which is our tagline.
Shine
Well,
on.
it's a Pink
You
Floyd
crazy
song, but we
diamond.
stole the Shine On
We took
bit,
the Shine
which
On.
then Jimmy Dean stole, but
Jimmy
not
Dean
from us.
stole it
They don't
from
know
us.
we exist.
Okay.
But yeah.
And is there anything different about you? Jen?
I just have chubby fingers.
Look at those man hands.
Oh my gosh.
like
Hold on. You
ranch
say it right there. Let me see your hands and see my hands.
Wait, I'm really sweaty. I have
No,
a sweaty
just-
hand
turn to the
condition.
camera.
Oh, okay.
Which one is more feminine?
Christos.
Oh yeah, you
hands
have
down.
way
Christo has
feminine hands.
much lovelier
I
Look,
have
hands.
feel my
like
hands, feel my
barn
hands.
hands.
They're so soft.
Yeah.
What kind of moisturizer do you use?
I don't work
Dove
in the
hands.
field. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a field Asian.
You're a
I'm a
gentleman
house
farmer?
Asian. Yes, I'm a
Oh,
gentleman
no.
farmer.
Oh, no.
I gotta tell you guys a funny story. When I was just out of school, or not out of school, I was working at an ad agency, and I was leaning back on a chair, and I put my hand over a low wall. So all you can see from behind are hands. And somebody walked over and was like, "Hi, Jenny." I'm like, "What?"
Oh my gosh, that's so
I'm like,
funny.
"Oh my God, your hands."
You're like George
Like-
Costanza. Remember he like realized he had model hands? It's like, my hands are beautiful.
If my fingers are a little longer, it could be model hands.
Could be.
Yes.
sure.
In another life.
All right, that was a random detour. Now, back to business. Kevin Schneider said, question, and he put a flag there so I can see it. Question, is the content of the book just relevant to the U.S. or doesn't it matter in which country you live? Is it global or is it just for the U.S.?
Interesting. I
Yeah.
think a lot of the principles translate just to business in general. Like
Yeah.
a lot of what we learned about business, we learned from our friends from England, Paul Hutchinson, and then our business mentor that's just a family friend. And then, even like I have friends in Sweden that I'm constantly bouncing ideas off of.
So yeah, the principles are generally the same. I
Yeah.
think the only chapter that you might differ from a little bit would be in the budget chapter,
Or like the
we give a
taxes section.
general idea of like how much to save for taxes if you're in the U.S. because we know. So and we put a little asterisk there and that say this is for the U.S. only. So only for that section you would just want to put whatever your specific tax situation is. So that's really the only
But
different
generally
thing.
it
And then
looks-
also licenses and permits section
Right.
is geared toward the
But
U.S.
it's kind of like math. Like business is kind of a universal language
Yeah.
a little bit. Like
Yeah.
it all comes down to people. And I actually find it more interesting. Chris, tell me what you think. But I find it more interesting to talk to business people in other industries. I find I learn a lot more than talking to just designers. Because I'm like, what's a way that we could spin what, it's kind of like how they used the jets from like the war to be passenger airplanes, the big like Boeing jets.
Right.
But they never rethought it to be like, is this the best design for passenger airplanes? So it's like, I find that that's a way to kind of question, like, I know everyone's doing it this way, but I wonder if there's a better way to do it.
Okay, check this out. Rachel Zempino with a super chat. Hey, Hoods and Doe, great stuff. We're having the first design conference in Pensacola, Florida this fall, and we'd love to have you. Bright time.
Oh, hey.
We have some of the best beaches in the country. I think she's inviting you and not me. And she
No,
just
it's
threw me in there
definitely
like,
What if we all took a
hey,
channel?
Oh, right.
it's
Chris,
like,
you're
hey,
here.
Hoods and Doe. You know what I mean?
And Christo
And,
too.
Yeah, and I just do that for polite. Yeah, so maybe you guys would be invited to do this thing in Pensacola.
Cool.
Call
Yeah.
us. Call us, girl.
Give us the whole call me.
Dude, let's go to Busch Gardens after. That's not in the same city.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's keep going here. How do I close this? Shoot. Yeah, I can't do it. I wanted to read a comment underneath here. And there we go. Boom. Okay. And Colleen O'Connor's correcting me. See, I'm not so much of a fashion person. It's not what are you wearing? It's supposed to be who are you wearing?
Oh,
Who are you wearing?
no.
You said grandma?
I'm wearing sweater by Ruth.
Woo! Okay. Mark, do we have a question? I'm starting to melt over here.
Mark,
Well,
help us out.
speaking of trends, someone had a question on Slido
I see
about
that.
trends.
Mhm.
So they're asking, when should you follow them and when should you stop?
Okay, I want you to think about this.
that's
I want you to think about this because we may or may not debate this. This is coming from Jose Joe Lopez.
Okay.
All right. Should
Okay,
you
we're-
follow trends?
Oh my gosh, interesting. Here's my theory. it's interesting because we come from an art history, so an art background. So I like to look at art history, and there are definite like trends, and there are definite genres, and there are definite, there was like what would you call it, schools of painting, like the Impressionists and the Cubist movement and things like that. So
Surrealist.
So I think there's definite movements, and there's nothing wrong with being a part of that. Yeah, if it fits into what your style is and what you like to do, I think that's just kind of smart if that lends itself to you and your style. But it is interesting. It's like, how do you know when a trend is dying and when to jump ship?
And also you can't just apply a trend en masse to every client.
Right.
That doesn't make any
it's not
sense.
Art.
Yeah.
As much as that analogy tracks, it's not art at the end of the day. Every industry is different, and there should be a different tact, taken.
Right. So if your client is they're making a very serious product, you're not going to do a script font you bought on Creative Market, or I don't know, maybe you would, but I wouldn't, I don't know. There's just, there's a time and place. So you definitely have to check. Yes, you want people to like it and enjoy it and feel like it's relevant and it's timely for what they want, but it also has to serve the needs and the purpose and the personality of the client if it's a design solution. So.
And I think you can usually tell when a trend is on the downward apex, right? It's once I think what's the Twinkies? I saw my font being used on a Twinkies ad, and I was like, "I've made it! It's it's been done.
It's over now.
It's
running on exhaust fumes.
I think now we're just gonna. It's only downhill from there, right? But I think when you see en masse, the big conglomerates taking it over, maybe it's time to think about what you're doing. Or if you've been doing a trend for a long time, I am always really worried about getting pigeonholed and getting left behind, because that. Nothing, everything's changing. That's the only constant, right? So I'm always trying to think of how can I try something new? How can I push myself further? And how can I make sure I'm not getting typecast while still being true to who I am and my style?
Okay. Follow-up question is, what is a trend that you're seeing now? And then I'm going to give you my 2 cents on this.
I'm excited.
Yes.
Amoeba shapes and twirly lines.
I call it the Taco Bell style a little bit.
Wait, what are we talking about here?
You remember 90s Taco Bell?
The pattern, or it's just
amoeba shapes. I understand. Weird blobby things.
Yeah. And then very
curlicue lines,
and then sketchy illustrations, which some of them are done really well. I think MailChimp's redesign is a good example.
That's
or
a pencil drawing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a very loose
or
and fluid
what Chobani
and lively
did first,
style,
right? That's really popular. Yeah.
Like that, or obviously for a while the whole heritage look was really a trend, and then now there's the whole trend of just make every logo sans serif.
No, now it's 90s trend. It's it's I don't know how to say it. Ugly fashion, is that how you can say it? Broken band tees. You know what I mean? Everything looks like an old Metallica tee or something. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
For fashion trend, you mean?
A lot of neon.
Design. It's it's almost brutalist, but not. I don't know.
Mark, what did you say?
A lot of neon too. A lot of 90s fashion coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it is interesting.
All right, so here's my thing. Let's not worry about trends, because I think people who are not as confident about their design today, and maybe they don't have the art history background that you ladies have, they want, it's a mental shortcut. If I can just figure out a trend, I'll just jump on that and I don't actually have to know how to design. You can take something from the 30s and make it cool. That's what Charles Anderson did. You can take something from the 60s and 70s and make that work. That's what Aaron Draplin did.
Right.
So you can take ugly and make it beautiful. It's in the hand of the artist. But what happens typically is you have a lens in which to look at the world. And so you start to make decisions that are consistent with that worldview. And after a while, if you have enough opportunities to do work and you have enough influence over what kind of work you do, it starts to emerge as something. And sometimes multiple people are doing the same thing and it becomes a movement. You were talking about those kinds of trends in art. I think it was Georges Braque and Picasso were playing around with similar ideas, and they both invented Cubism.
Right.
Nobody knows about Georges Braque because Picasso became the world beater that he was.
Right. Interesting.
And that's how that works, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about what's in trend, out of trend. It doesn't really matter. Somebody would say to me, I think Helvetica and Futura played out that trend. Is it wasn't a trend. You guys just chill the F out.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
Just know how to do good design.
Right.
And do what's appropriate.
Well, and it's there's always
play.
good examples of people who did something that no one thought anyone was allowed to do, and they broke the rule and it looks amazing. Landboys, redesigned Stumptown's branding, and they used hobo, and I'm like,
Oh my
They've
God.
just opened a gate.
all bets are off.
All bets
Yeah.
are off. We are
Yeah.
allowed to do whatever we want. So it's like every time someone says there's a rule, like you remember everyone was like against gradients for a while, like, oh, gradients are so old and then now like they're back. Like,
You know why?
everything's cyclical.
The reason why people didn't like gradients in the beginning because it was a byproduct of computers, because it was very difficult to do gradients and specify them the way that you would. So somebody would open up Photoshop, do a gradient, and they didn't know how to design. So
right.
it becomes an association. Bad design equals gradient. But if you allow the second, third, fourth tier wave generation of designers, they're using all the tools. They're doing crazy cool 3D things with gradients, and they know how to design and compose a frame. So those attachments to those ideas that that's a bad design, that's not good. So whoever tells you these things, just ignore them all. Whether they say that's on trend, off trend, I don't really care.
Yeah.
The trend is I don't give a F. That's the trend. Okay. Suchet M or Suchet M is saying, are you guys looking for unpaid interns at the moment? Because I'd love to just learn from you guys and help you out.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, that's so nice.
We're not.
The answer is no.
Let me down a little softer. You know, so sweet. No, F you. Come
no.
on.
Well, first of all, we would totally pay you. I would never like make you work for free,
Yeah.
but also like thank you. I think the problem is we're stretched so thin that we just don't have time to even like. And I would want you to learn something from
That's
it.
our thing is we would
Yeah.
want it to be the most epic internship, and so we don't want to just like send you out for coffee and stuff, and we just don't have the time to really like invest. But hopefully soon, because we're starting to work on more of our own stuff, and we're starting to like ease out of client work and just make it like
Not all
more
client work, but just
make it more
Yeah.
50-50. 50% client work, 50% our own internal projects that
Like
are
passive income
generating
stuff.
us money. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. We'll talk about that some other time. Okay. Rachel, the one who offered to bring you guys to Pepsi Cola.
Pepsi Cola.
Yeah.
We're more Coca-Cola ladies, but we'll come.
You know what? For the longest time, I'm like, why is their town named after Pepsi? It's like Pensacola.
Pensacola.
Yeah,
Pensacola.
Pensacola. But every time I hear, like, I'm getting thirsty hearing about this town. Anyway, she's saying, Chris, you're invited too. I'm like, oh,
What a
thank you.
sweetheart.
Yeah. Okay. People are talking about that code. You guys better fix it. They're all over your site right now.
Jen,
okay.
fix it.
No, you don't have to do it right now.
Not now, but
okay.
later.
Oh, here we go. Let me see. Let me pull this up. Okay, we're going to introduce a brand. Oh, where's the news music? Yes. Okay, hold on. Okay, yes. We got a brand new segment, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and germs, we have a brand new segment. It's called Ribbling Ribbling Rivalry, yes. Now, what I'm going to do is, let's just stay on this card for a second. Ladies, you've been instructed, right?
Yes.
You have your notepad. Don't look at each other. I'm going to ask you a question and turn away, and you're going to write an answer, and then when we're ready, we'll show the camera. Okay. I like how honest and there's like full of integrity here. You really are into this. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
This is a goofy thing. If it gets nasty, you just say, shut up, Chris. We're moving on. Okay, here we go. Who is more organized? Write the name of the person.
Oh, God.
Okay. No. Okay, ready? And then you show it to camera. 1, 2, 3. Show camera. Oh my God! What? Come on.
Jen, it's me.
No, but
Give me a break.
Who's more humble, basically? Talk to
neither of
me.
us. We're both vain beauty
You're
queens.
so vain. All right. Okay.
okay.
Amy, tell me why you think you're more organized.
Okay, I think I'm
me
more
out.
organized.
Call her out right now.
That is a really good question. I think
Your
I'm.
desk is usually like super junky.
I don't think if it has to do with the desk, Jen wins. But
Right.
if
What are we quantifying?
or
Hold on. She gets to talk.
projects, and also like Jen's great if it has a client attached, but if it's for ourselves, she's like, it can be put off. Whereas I'm like, no, we're releasing it this week, and I will do whatever it takes to get it done.
Okay, yeah.
You know?
So it depends on where our priorities
Yeah.
are.
Okay. So Jen, what's your?
Okay, Amy's room, she never makes her bed.
I do.
Oh my
I
God.
do. Not every day. Sometimes I'm
Not
Oh
every
my
week. Well, yeah,
God.
I make my bed every day. The room is completely clean. It's like a military.
You win a point for that.
Military order, like.
Yes.
creases.
Go on.
dang it.
Okay, all right. So we know who the slob in the bed is. Okay, all right. Look, here's my idea. Is the world is more powerful with you two together. So at the end of the game, I'm hoping to break you guys up, and it'll be called something else now. One will be called the Hood, and the other one will be called Spa.
Oh my
We're
gosh,
gonna
I
break you up
love
after
it.
this game, so you guys can
Okay.
fight. Okay, here is question number 2. Who's better at drawing? Shh,
okay.
don't clues. No clues. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Show the answer. Oh my God!
So
You
true.
guys,
That's so weird.
you obviously. Are you sure you're twins?
I know.
Do you not know each other?
No, but you
gosh.
are a better drawer.
I think you are. As far as like drawing from memory, like
I'm throwing up in my mouth right now, you guys.
I mean, I'd
Gross.
love to say it's me.
Ew,
What?
this love fest
Hold on.
is disgusting.
This is so. What is going on with you two?
Okay, wait, I'm
No.
confused.
First, it's like it's all me, and now it's all
know.
you.
Oh,
Okay, here's
no.
the thing. I don't know.
Look, Let me just tell you something.
Okay,
After
next
2 questions out of 5, if we're playing the newlywed game, you guys would be
We're-
dead
we're
last.
divorced.
You're done. It's like you'll be fighting
We're getting
right
an
now.
annulment.
Yeah. Okay.
So next time you guys get this wrong, one person hit the other person.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm excited.
I opened up with softball questions. I
I
thought for
know,
sure it'd be
dang
like,
it.
yeah, you guys.
Okay.
All right, here's number 3. You ready? Who's better with clients?
Oh gosh, this is unfair.
Be quiet. Be quiet.
Oh gosh.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, show it. Oh yeah! Okay, woo!
Okay.
Let me get the applause. Finally, yes.
Yeah.
I already knew that one before because she's like, you're dealing with the money stuff. Okay, so tell me why you're better with clients.
I think
You're just more empathetic and level-headed.
okay, yeah, because like sometimes, well, it's like if someone doesn't like something, like I usually don't take it super personally, and I think I enjoy a lot of the lead up process. Where I think you enjoy more of the design process. You want to jump right in. I like the lead up and like getting buy-in and doing the discovery, and I think I enjoy that. And so
I like doing
Yeah.
that too, but yeah, I definitely more prefer doing the design side.
Yeah.
And yeah, like if somebody doesn't like something, I find it harder to be
as level-headed as we expect them to be.
Totally. Yeah, I definitely.
What's the word for that?
double
I definitely get more offended, and I have to kind of like take a step back and be like, it's not the end of the world. Like this
Yeah.
will still be an amazing project. It's just going to be slightly tweaked. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the most flattering portrait of you.
Dang, you're
eh?
gonna
I
make the
know.
ride home for
I
us
know.
real awkward
I know.
because
If
we're
you're,
gonna be like
I'm
pitted
staring.
against
You're
each
gonna ride
other.
home in your train.
Yeah, I'll take the metro home. My own train.
Okay, we got one right so far. So if you're keeping score at home, you guys, it's 1 out of 5, and I think you need 2 points to win this game. And there's only 2 questions left, so you got to nail it on this, or you're gonna be all the pressure in the world. Are you ready?
Okay.
Who's crazier? Who is crazier?
Audience can play along too.
There's a lot of underlines going on there. I didn't know there's so many underlines in each other's names. Okay, are you ready? And 3, 2, 1, show the hands. Who's crazier?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my God.
Amy has
Okay.
the rage, and it's why she will always beat me in any fight.
Yeah, I just.
She has the rage?
I get so mad
Talk to me about the
sometimes.
rage.
Oh man.
Is this like 23 days later you got the rage virus?
Yeah, 28 days later. Yeah.
28 days, yeah.
Oh man,
What
I
happened?
just like if my computer doesn't listen to me, or if I can't if I know it's in my head and I can't get it out, or like whatever it is, if something goes wrong, like I'm the first to be like, what the F? Just
But
like,
Amy's also like the most high output person I've ever met. She'll work like 3 times as hard as I will. And so because of that, she expects a lot of everything. Her computer,
Right.
her desk, her
Right,
mouse,
yeah.
like me.
I have really
Her
high.
bed.
My bed.
And
Yeah.
so there's like like the patience barrier is like silk thin because it's like she's so used to being on like high performance that
Yeah.
when like if you get creative block or if like your computer's not working, it's like what? It's like just Mount
smash
St.
everything,
Helens,
turn
like,
the tables over. I
Like
go
a Michael
Nick
Bay
Cage.
pyrotechnics.
I go Nick Cage.
I can totally see Amy standing over her bed. It's like, and you haven't made yourself?
Yeah.
What is
How
going on
dare
with
you?
you.
God, after all I've given you.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay, here's the last one. Okay, I hope I said this one right. Let's see. Who is funnier? Who's funnier, ladies?
Oh, my pen's going out, but
Oh, I'm sorry. We
No
gave you a
worries.
jank pen. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh! You guys got it!
we're gonna stay together. We're staying together for the children.
Shoot. That means there's going to be more competition out there in the design world. Fellas. Okay, why are you funnier, Jen?
I don't know.
You really are,
But you
though.
always tell me.
You
so
are
I knew
funnier.
what you were gonna say.
You are funnier. You more take note of the world, and you can like Jen's great on Twitter. Follow her on Twitter.
But I'm
Quality
not.
stuff.
I haven't been on in a while. You're
Quality
actually
stuff.
better at Twitter than me.
I did have a tweet.
But in the
go-
moment, I would say I'm able to be a little bit more off
Yeah.
the cuff, perhaps.
Jen wrote all the
But
funny
it's
stuff in our
always a
books.
dangerous spot to call yourself funny because then people expect
The
a
minute
lot.
you say you're funny, you're not funny,
Yeah,
right?
No,
I
you
mean,
can't say you're
yeah.
funny. So no one, I am not funny.
Okay.
Don't expect jokes.
So here's what I learned about our 2 guests today. There's some differences here right away. So Amy, you're the emotional, temperamental, messy, crazy, hot-blooded. Hot-blooded. Hot
Man,
mess. Hashtag
I
for
got
best
all the
hot
bad
mess.
stuff. Jen won the DNA pool.
She clawed her way out, right?
Not even true.
Okay. And then
Amy's
Jen,
all fire. That's what
yeah,
it
it's
is.
all fire. And are you ice? Fire and ice?
Oh.
You
I
know?
see fire. I see rain.
Jen's rain.
I'm rain, baby.
Okay. So you're the level-headed, the funnier person, right?
I'm just
The
chill. I'm
clients
just
can
like,
trust.
let's just
Jen is
chill
chill.
out.
I can see that.
Jen's
it's
like,
no
let's
big
just watch some
deal.
TV.
Just
Like,
watch
get a
some
beer.
TV.
I'm like, yeah, I need a beer. I need a
Like
beer
when
right
we're
now.
out traveling, we've just done like an 8-hour workshop. Amy's like, let's go out, let's go party. And I'm like, let's just stay
Jen's like, there's forensic files on the TV. I think we should just stand.
Okay, I have to admit, my mouth hurts from laughing too much. My jaw is totally
Getting
sore.
that jaw chisel going in.
I'm like all sore for tomorrow. Dang. All right, before we get out of here, let's end on one killer question. So, Mark, scrape the YouTube comments for me, please.
Okay.
And if we got a good one, we will. And I'll look over on Slido, see what else there is. Oh, we already dealt with that.
Yeah, most of the good ones are going to Slido.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
YouTube better step it up.
YouTube's mainly...
Okay, so-
yeah, because the people on YouTube know to go to Slido now.
Okay, we trained them well, dude. They're fast learners. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Felix Petit, what were the biggest setbacks you had to solve when starting your studio? What would you do different now in hindsight? It's always that retrospective question that kills me.
Love that question.
I know.
Okay, so I'll give you a little time to think, What were the biggest setbacks you had to solve when starting your studio? What would you do differently in hindsight?
I think a lot of the biggest ones at the beginning were letting other people tell us like what we had to do to be successful, which everyone says, and I know, gross gag, right? But it was like you have to get an office, you have to do all these things, and I'm so glad we didn't. I'm so glad we didn't take on the burden of even just like you have to go to school, and I didn't have the money to go to school. And I always think back, and I'm so grateful that I don't have $60,000 that I'm paying off in student loans.
Oftentimes way more.
Yeah, so I think that I'm always really thankful for those moments where it felt like I was failing at the moment when I was 5 years into a 2-year degree at Saddleback Community College.
Say that one more time.
5 years into a 2-year degree that I never finished at Saddleback Community
Don't you love
College
those people?
in fine art.
They're like, well, Nikola Tesla didn't finish university, and neither did Einstein.
I know.
And that's who I'm going to be.
Yeah, and neither did Amy and Jen Hood.
Add
so,
yourself to that pantheon,
yes,
ladies.
yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
But I think a lot of it was that kind of stuff was just feeling like you had failed, and like all your friends are like, yeah, I went to Berkeley, or I'm at Cal or UCLA, and I was like, I'm working at Kaylin and Coffee, and 5 years into this black hole. So I think it was at the time it felt like a failure, but looking back, I'm like grateful. I'm like, thank goodness, Amy, that you just kept going on your own path and you found a way. It's kind of like, Jen, do you have that slide? But like you have a point Z that you want to get to. You're at point A. A lot of people could wait for that perfect moment to just be like, oh, there's my dream job. I got it.
I'm going to hop straight to it. Yeah.
Or then they're just like, I'm just waiting for my perfect opportunity. But for us, it was just like taking a million little steps and just starting to try to get closer. And then it's funny, the opportunities that come when you're not even looking for them. Like, we thought we wanted to do magazine print layout the rest of our lives.
Same here.
We
Yeah.
didn't even know that we were good at logos. We didn't think we could do it. And then someone just asked us to do it, and we said yes. And now that's what we're known for.
Yeah.
So I think and even like somebody asked us to teach a class, and we were like, we didn't graduate.
And like getting fixated on what you should have done or what you should do can often distract you from what is available and
Yeah,
can
the
help you
opportunities.
continue to move forward in ways you didn't think were possible. So it's like definitely set a goal and like work towards it. We're not even answering the question, but
No, it's
I
fine.
feel like we're pivoting because it's hard to know. But I will say that I think one of the biggest things that changed for us as far as landing bigger clients and building more respectability was when we started like honing in our proposal. So when people were
Yeah.
asking us for quotes at the beginning, we were just sending them like an email back with like a number and like 3 bullet points on what it includes. Like, that's not very impressive, And then you're making it all about the number. And that's not really what it's about.
And then they just kind of are like, what?
Yeah,
Ugh.
they see it as an expense. So it's like, instead, when we started turning it into a proposal where it was like they saw our story, they learned about our credentials, they learned about like why the value of the process is there, why
And all
it's
that's going
important,
into this
all that's
project.
going into it. And we really set the pace. And then at the end, after showing relevant portfolio work and everything, then at the end, we show the price, and then
It feels like
has
a steal.
scope. Yeah, now they have context to it, right? So
Interesting.
that changed the whole game of what we
Yeah,
could
that
land.
really did. And as far,
Yeah.
like as far as like money wise, like what we could
Money-wise,
land.
yeah. And I think that was a big turning point, because when you've solved your money problems, you have time then to figure out everything else. Like, it's not all about money, but gosh, when that's solved, it really makes it a lot easier.
It's so much nicer.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Chapter 3 says it's all about the money.
Yeah, it's all about the money, honey.
I'm gonna find.
dollar bills, y'all.
Which is it right now?
Cash rules everything
Yes,
around me.
I'm
But
finding
it is
right
funny,
now.
like you meet people who are like, I only want to do work I'm passionate about. I'm like, it doesn't exist. That's not a business
Yeah.
model. Oh yeah, cash rules everything.
She's like, it's not
around
about the
me."
money. Wait, it's all about
But
the
it's
money.
all about the money. Yeah. But I mean, that's true. Everyone's like, you only work on fun stuff. I'm like, that's what we portray on our website, because that's the kind of work we want to get. But we
Right.
take on a lot of projects that aren't glamorous, but they pay the bills, and they're amazing people, and they pay on time. And you got to have those not base clients, but like that roster of clients that it's steady work. You can maybe even bring in like a team of junior designers or production designers. But that, I think that's key. And it also, it helps, like, you know, when you're doing creative work all day, only logos, only branding projects, it's draining. I actually love when I get my hands on some editorial and I can just do some simple layout. Like, it's like a vacation for my mind.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was pretty good. I just want to clarify something. Amy, you studied art history?
Yeah, well, I was fine art major, but I had to take art history.
Okay, fine art major, and you took 5 years to do two-year program.
Yes. And even then, like, it was the 5 years of like what is it,
Just general ed,
and then we took like 2 art classes,
and we were like, 1 design class.
This sucks.
Okay, and so what were you doing, Jen? Did you?
I was also going to Saddleback.
We were working full time. Can I have a caveat? We were working full time and paying for ourselves to live, so it's not like I was just like eating Cheetos and like watching Netflix all day
and trying to find your life path.
And how old were you when you were going to college?
It was I graduated at 17, so I guess like 17 to 20, math, 23, 22, 27.
Okay. And were you guys originally from New York?
We grew up in Kentucky and upstate New York. Yeah.
Okay. All
Syracuse.
Right. But the whole family's here now?
My dad's here, my mom's in Kentucky, and my grandma's in Kentucky. So a lot of family. Yeah.
And you visit often?
Yeah, like once a year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there's a couple of quick comments here I'm going to read before we wrap up the show and tell you guys how to get in touch with Hoodzpah. All right, so Casper Gant is dropping some money on us on the Super Chat. Thank you very much. And I like the way you phrased it this time. Great content as always, Chris! Exclamation. Jen plus Amy. See, the order is right there. I like that.
Good order, yeah.
I hope my twin girls follow your example when they grow up.
Oh, that's so nice. I love that.
That's not the only comment that came in like that. Somebody else said, I have twins and I'm getting a look into the future and I hope they're as great as you guys are.
Oh, that's so nice.
Wow.
Shout out to my mom. She made us get along, and she was like, you guys are going to be each other's best assets. And she was right.
Hey, William Youngblood. He's from Kentucky. Hey.
Oh, all right.
Kentucky represent.
Okay, how many people from Kentucky are
raise your hands?
Raise your hand. Whoop, whoop. Let me see you guys raise it.
Last time we were in Kentucky, we legit saw someone taking a bath in a creek. And it was
oh
my cousin
God.
was like, she's there all the time.
Kentucky, like, there is that, like, what you would think in the stereotype. Like, there are people who are just very, like, humble, and they just live off the land, and then there's also like this side of Kentucky that no one thinks is there, which is like there's like, you know, cities and epicenters of culture, and it's like it's a really cool dichotomy.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way of describing that. I like the way you spun that sucker. My head is still spinning around right now.
I love Kentucky.
Okay, so I'm going to read the last comment from Swinders. This is awesome. I feel motivated, inspired. Purchase your book. Excited.
Yes, thank you. I hope you enjoy it. Let us know.
Yes. So, okay, ladies, I'm going to wrap up the show. Usually I do a show summary, but I just could not keep up with the both of you, so there is no summary today, okay? So thank you very much for stopping by. And for those of you guys that stay late or with us the whole stream here, this is how you get in touch with them. It's Hoodzpah. Like, am I supposed to say it with a little more?
Hoodzpah. It's throaty.
Get a
phlegmy.
Do it once for me.
Hoodzpah. But we actually say Hoodzpah.
We just say Hoodzpah.
Yes, yeah. You know, always like in the studio. Hoodzpah. I'm like, excuse me. Hoodzpahdesign.com. You're Amy Hoodlum, and you're at The Good Hood. You are the good one.
I am.
Gosh, it was true. Okay, let's get out of here. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to play the music and get us out of the show. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the live stream. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all our sustaining members and the Future fam, the donation, the donuts. See you guys later. Where's my music?
Bye.
I don't know. I'll just hit one random track. Where is it? There it is.
Bloop up.
Hey, what happened to our screen? We went black, Aaron. Cut to one of us. There we go. You guys dance us off. Nice.
We're terrible dancers.
That's what makes it so good. Throw a